Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for tuning in today and for being a part of our audience. I truly appreciate it. In the studio with me, and we didn't mention it at all this week, but it's true, it's a fact. We are high atop the mountain in Saratoga, Wyoming. Yes, indeedy do. Broadcasting from around 7,000 feet or so high in the sky, and well, we're happy to be here. I know Jared's happy to be with me. How's your throat feeling after taking that cough drop there?
It's okay.
Okay.
It's getting better.
It's getting better. Okay, well, good. Fantastic. I won't make him do too much talking today. Let me see. We've got a slave state news update for music, and then we've got, today is Thursday, and because it's Thursday, we've got a crossbreed holster student of the gun homeroom, but that's at the end of the day. Now, we're enjoying very much living here in free America, living up in the mountains, living in Saratoga, Wyoming. This is kind of like living the dream. Sometimes I wonder, is this really happening? And then I remind myself that, yes, it absolutely is happening. The people up here have been very, very welcoming and couldn't possibly be any nicer to us. So we're very pleased to be a part of this community. And we're pleased to have some local listeners now. Yeah, some of our there's not that many locals, but there are some locals, and they are listening. Some of them are actually in junior high and elementary school. So Professor Paul has to watch what he says, but it's okay. I always watch what I say, don't I, Jared?
For the most part.
For the most part.
I don't really, like when I'm talking, though, previously I wasn't really thinking that middle schoolers and high schoolers were listening. But now that I know there are, I'm going to have to save my rhetoric for Friday.
Well, yeah, you know that that there's at least one dedicated listener up there in the outskirts of Memphis, Tennessee, in that part of the area. He's related to E.J. Owens. And he's a Star Wars fan. And he's related to E.J. Owens. And that's all I'm going to say about him there. But because he knows who he is. And we've got a local one who's listening. I don't know if she listens every day or not, but if you're listening today, Austin, hello to you. That was my acknowledgement. That was my greeting, because I'm not a 13-year-old girl and I don't do shout-outs. But introduction and talk, that's what my show notes tell me I'm supposed to do. And I think I've done that. Have I succeeded in doing what I set out to do? Okay. All right, well, I don't know how much time I'm going to spend on this subject because, quite frankly, it's getting on my nerves. And quite frankly, this isn't new. This is old. This is something that's going on. And why does it have to be me? Why does it have to be me, the guy on Student of the Gun Radio, that points this out and inspires you to action? I don't understand it. I really don't. But we're going to go ahead and examine the current issue going on in Oregon, but we're only going to do that after we do our official slave state news theme.
I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you see.
Yes, indeed. Control by Puddle of Mud. That's what slave states are all about. They are about controlling you. Controlling how you think, controlling how you behave, controlling the actions that you take. Restricting the liberties of law-abiding citizens. That's what slave states are all about. All right, this story comes to us from gunowners.org. G-O-A, America. Gun Owners of America. Okay. So, Dateline, Tuesday, 2 May 2017, written by Brian Seay. It's S-E-A-Y, and I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. Seay? I'm not sure, Brian, how I'm pronouncing, if you're pronouncing your name correctly, but Brian wrote this story, and it says, gun confiscation bill advances in Oregon. Well, I'm a curious cat. Go ahead and hit me to that. The Oregon Senate approved a bill Monday that would allow people to ask a court to revoke gun rights for family and household members. I love how they throw in household members in addition to family. So who's living in your house? Well, it might not be my family. It might be someone else. So, I'm going to revoke the gun rights. Senate Bill 719 Alpha creates a process for obtaining a so-called, quote, extreme risk protection order that would prohibit someone from possessing a deadly weapon when a court determines the person could present imminent risk to themselves or others. Aha! So, they're not only worried about homicide here, but based on this statement, they're very, very concerned with suicide. That's what imminent risk to themselves means. It says the bill defines a deadly weapon as a, quote, any instrument, article, or substance specifically designed for and presently capable of causing death or serious physical injury, or a firearm, whether loaded or unloaded. So, according to this broad sweeping bill, it says any deadly weapon, such as an instrument, article, or substance specifically designed for and presently capable of causing death or physical injury, or a firearm, whether loaded or unloaded. So you don't even have to have ammunition for it. If it's just a firearm, they can take it from you. So I guess this would go to knives, tomahawks, swords, hatchets, dirks, daggers, bludgeons, maces, halberds, spears, all up and down the scale. And, of course, all guns, because guns are bad, and there wouldn't be violence or crime in the world if there weren't guns. And under the proposal, a law enforcement officer or family or household member can initiate the protection order process. The person in question would have to surrender their weapons and concealed handgun license within 24 hours of being served with the protection order. When an officer serves the order, he or she can request immediate surrender of the weapons, not 24 hours. But the person can also surrender to a gun dealer or a third party. Here we go. It says, spouses, intimate partners, parents, children, siblings, and then, quote, any other person living within the same household are eligible to initiate the process, according to the bill. So, you have a sister that hates guns, doesn't like you having guns, and think that your interest in firearms is unhealthy. How far is your sister going to take that? I don't know. Moms or dads. Children. Intimate, I like how they put intimate partners. Well, it is Oregon, and they do have Portland there, so... what's the, it's not Portland. What is the actual, no kidding? Everyone thinks, they Portlandia, but there's a place outside of Portland, and you guys are going to have to bear with me, that is even at Klamath Falls. Yeah, Klamath Falls is famous for having a bunch of left-wing lunatic people in it. When family members or law enforcement officers go before the court, the burden of proof lies with them. Before signing off on the order, a judge will consider the person's history of suicide threats and attempted, threatened, or actual use of force against others. They'll also look at convictions for violence, stalking, cruelty to animals. Okay. weapons charges, or illegal substance use, among other things. The person ordered to surrender their deadly weapons has 30 days to contest the protection order. They'll then be granted a hearing within 21 days of the request. So, the Oregon Firearms Federation called the bill one of the most dangerous pieces of legislation the anti-gunners have ever dreamed up. It allows a family member to have a person's property and rights taken away by force by the police and assumes that even though the person is very dangerous, the people who have made the accusations can live safely with the person who had their right taken. It's complete madness, they said. Now, let's go ahead and examine this for a second. Let's go ahead and examine this crazy little thing called Amendment number 5 to the United States Constitution. And it's a long one. It's way longer than number 2 or number 1, so buckle in. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising from land or naval forces or in the militia when there is actual service in the time of war or public danger. Okay. So barring war here or active, outbreak of war or combat, you cannot be charged or held accountable for a capital crime. That'd be a felony or an infamous crime, unless presented with an indictment by a grand jury. How many of you know that? How many of you understand that police officers, like that your local constabulary, the guy driving around giving you a ticket for speeding and stuff, that person cannot, in and of themselves, charge you with a felony? You know that it has to be a grand jury. Did you know that? Yes, indeed. Even a judge, even a sitting judge can't just decide on their own to charge you with a capital crime. Let's go ahead and continue. We dealt with the war thing, and it says, nor shall any person be subject to the same offense twice. That's double jeopardy. And nor shall they be compelled in a criminal case to bear witness against themselves. That's probably the most common use of the Fifth Amendment, is that you cannot be compelled to bear witness of against yourself. Now, here's what's important to us in this one. Nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. Nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So, the question that you peasants need to ask yourselves up there in Oregon is this: are guns or weapons, because, that whole thing says, according to the statute, it could be anything. If you got a K-bar, you own a K-bar, and they're going to come take that. Dirks, daggers, swords, gladius, spears, halberds, and also any type of firearm, whether loaded or unloaded, or any substance. Notice that they put the word substance in there. So I'm guessing that putting the word, Jared, do you believe that putting the word substance into the bill allows them to seize your ammunition? Because you know that left-wingers are very, very afraid of people who possess arsenals or stockpiles of ammunition. So we've got that one. Now, there's this pesky little 14th Amendment. And the 14th Amendment, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is broken down into several sections. It's pretty lengthy as well. But it says in Section 1, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Well, thank you for clearing that up. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdictions the equal protections of the law. So, we have the Fifth Amendment, and in the Fifth Amendment, we have double jeopardy, we have the right to against or prohibition against self-incrimination, And then we also have this little thing that says they shall not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law. And in the same amendment, it talks about how you cannot be held to a capital crime or infamous crime without the presentment of an indictment by a grand jury, which is a jury of your peers. It means it's not just one person, one individual anti-gun crank. And what do we know about our current state of jurisprudence? We have sitting judges that rather than define the law and referee in court cases, because that's generally that's what a judge actually does, is he acts as the referee between the jury and the prosecution and the defense. But we have judges sitting on benches today that were appointed by hardcore leftists and communists, William Jefferson Clinton, Comrade Barack Hussein Obama. And those people are legislating from the bench. They are deciding that they don't like certain things. Therefore, they're going to define law, or they're going to expand law based on their own personal decision. And the Founding Fathers understood that problem. They understood that there might be a time in the United States of America, this brand new country they were founding, that you had individuals with personal axes to grind. And then if you granted them too much autonomous power, that they would abuse that power. That they would decide that they were the arbiters of what is right and fair, and they would decide who is a good or a bad person, or what laws are good and what laws are bad, or what you should have and what you shouldn't have. You see, ladies and gentlemen, the men who founded the United States of America, they understood the nature of man. And they understood that if you give an individual man too much power, or woman, that they have a great tendency, though they may have the best of intentions publicly, that's what they tell you, that they will abuse that power, and there's a natural tendency for that power to be abused. And so the whole entire Bill of Rights is a bulwark against abuse of power by sitting government officials. Now, they also understood the power of propaganda, and they also understood the dangerousness of good ideas and of mob rule. If we can convince 51% of the people to steal the liberties and rights of the other 49%, well, then in a democracy, they just have to suck it. It's just too bad. That's why Democrats love, and news media personnel who are leftists, love to distract you and keep you ignorant by throwing out the words democracy when they talk about the United States of America. In our democracy, we blah, 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 and in democracy, and in a democracy. Hey, buttface. The United States of America, as codified by the Constitutional Convention, is not a democracy, you mongoloid. The United States of America is a constitutional republic. It is a representative republic with a constitution which very, very clearly defines the powers and authorities of government officials and what they can and cannot do. And when many people out there don't understand the 14th Amendment, which is law and does apply even to the glorious People's Republic of Oregon, where they have wonderful good ideas, and where your legislators in Oregon, they know better than you silly peasants what is good for you. But it looks to me that it says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Now you said, Paul, well, when a judge issues a protection order, and in this case, an extreme protection order, Jared, do you suppose they write that out with frog lube? They take frog lube and they put it in a pen and they write an extreme protection order. You say, well, that's if a judge says it, then it's due process of law. No. This is when the peasants of Oregon and the rest of the United States of America need to hit the pause button and say, hang on a second. Let's look at due process of law. And it seems like in the amendments in the Bill of Rights that due process of law is very clearly defined. That you need to be you need to be accused, charged, tried, and found guilty by a jury of your peers before the state can confiscate your property or come to your house and kill you. Like, oh, come on, you just that's it. I'm all done listening to you. You just said the state's going to come to your house and kill you. Okay. So when representatives of the state, let's say you have, let's just go ahead and say you have that sister in Klamath Falls who's living with her intimate partner. And your sister who lives in Klamath Falls with her intimate partner is very concerned about you and your sick and twisted love and desire to have firearms, right? She can't understand it. She's tried talking to you about it. And she sits down at the table with her life partner, Susan. And Susan and your sister, they just decide that you've lost it. You don't know what's good for you. You have this sick obsession with guns, and it's wrong, and it's dangerous, and people shouldn't have guns anyway. Because look at all the gun violence in the world. Look at all the gun violence in Seattle. Didn't Chiefette O'Toole tell us that she wasn't going to put up with gun violence anymore? So they placed the call. That's right. They placed the call. And according to the law, then what they can do is they can issue an extreme protection order against you. And who shows up at your door? Now, it's not the judge. The judge isn't coming to your house. And your sister and her life partner, Susan, from Klamath Falls, they're not coming to your house to demand that you surrender your guns and your stockpile of ammo, because in the law they said that any substance, because you're like, well, what the heck would a substance be? I don't know. Drano? I don't know. Bleach? What substance do you suppose that they're going to come to seize from you? And the agent of the state in their polyester uniform shows up, rings your doorbell, and says, "Hi, I'm here to take your property from you. Surrender it immediately. You have no choice." And you, being a citizen of the United States and having not been convicted of a crime, might say, now hang on a second. I read the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. I know the Oregon State Constitution, and I have not been charged, pled to, or I haven't gone to an arraignment. I haven't been tried by a jury of my peers. I've not been found guilty by a jury of my peers, and I've not been sentenced by a magistrate. So you have no right to seize my property. That's when the SIG or the Glock or the M&P comes out of the holster, and the agent of the state informs you that they're going to take your property, and you're just going to have to suck it. And if you resist the agent of the state, then the agent of the state may end up having to kill you. Now you say, oh, this is far-fetched and you've gone too far. When people with guns show up at your house demanding to seize your property, are they doing it as a suggestion? Because if they weren't going to use deadly force to enforce this piece of paper, this isn't an arrest warrant. This is an indictment. This is an order. But it's an extreme, so that makes it important. And you say, oh, that's far-fetched and that would never happen. Jared, did we not have a person on Student of the Gun Radio about 2 years ago who had this exact experience? Whose neighbor filed a fraudulent charge against him, and without any type of a conviction, without any trial by jury or of his peers, They sent agents of the state with guns to his home and seized his property. And the agents of the state even said that they didn't think it was right, but they did it anyway. What is due process of law? Now, if due process of law means any time somebody in a black robe decides that you're not acting right, they're going to take your property, well, then there you go. If due process of law means any time you've been accused of something, not convicted, just accused, that the state can seize your property, well, then I guess that's it. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen, that private property rights are the linchpin, are the hinge pin of individual liberty? Without private property rights, you have no liberty. Private property is money. Private property is actual physical land. Private property is guns. And if at any time the magistrate, the state, representatives of the state can decide arbitrarily to seize and withhold your property, whether it's money, whether it's guns, whether it's physical property, without due process of law, you have no liberty. So, and I don't know what to tell you folks up there in Oregon. I don't know how sick you guys are of this nonsense or not, but you better get hot on it, and don't tell me you're outnumbered, and don't tell me you tried hard enough. I don't want to hear it. Do you still possess firearms? Do you still possess an understanding of the English language? Have they banned and outlawed possession of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights? I don't know. You tell me. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Well, Brownells, what? If you live in free America and you would like to possess instruments of liberty and accessories that go along with those instruments of liberty, well, you can absolutely do that by going to brownells.com. And remember, all during the month of May, if you place an order that is $49 or more, then all you have to do is put in the promo code MAY, and you're going to get free shipping because that's righteous and they're good dudes. Frog Lube, green, minty fresh. It's extreme, and you can use Frog Lube Extreme to lube up your protection order, your essential emergency executive protection order. Why not? You can get Frog Lube at Brownells or from froglube.com. Century Arms, they need a little Frog Lube every once in a while. Your C-39 V2. Would you like a 100% top to bottom, the screws, the stocks, the trigger components, the barrels, everything made in America? You'd like that? Okay, well, they have it, and you can purchase it from them. Go to centuryarms.com to find out more. Duracoat, because, quite frankly, life is too short to have an ugly gun. Beginning and end of sentence. You can get Duracoat products from LauerWeaponry.com, including the ever-popular Gun Tats and slightly darker black. Yes, you can be an American and have slightly darker black. And you can also get Duracoat products from Brownells. And last but certainly not least, I want you to have a strong body. I want you to have a sharp mind, because with all the nonsense that's going on in our world today, all the assaults, physically and mentally and psychologically, that you have to deal with on a daily basis, you need it. Go to SWATfuelStore.com and use the promo code SOTG2015.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
All right, kids, how many of you live in an area that has seasons? This leaves out all you guys down there in Gulfport and Biloxi and Mobile, but how many of you have legitimate, genuine seasons? Autumn, fall, winter, spring, and so forth. Well, The term spring cleaning originated from, well, northern people, Yankees and people who had to deal with snow and winter and what have you. Because what do you do when it's cold? You button up your house, you button up your garage, your buildings, your cars, and let's face it, you focus most of your time on keeping your body warm and comfortable and out of the elements. But eventually the Lord blesses us with the sun, and that this big old ball that we're living on starts moving around, and it gets to the other side of that big gaseous object known as the sun, and it gets warm, and we do spring cleaning. I know that when I was a kid, my mom and my grandmas and so forth, in the springtime when it got warm, they opened, because we lived in Michigan when I was a little kid, and we didn't have air conditioning, because you didn't really need it, but maybe 1 month out of the year. So when it was warm, you just opened up the windows and you let all the fresh air in, and you would go through spring cleaning. Well, it's May, and it's getting warm here where we are. We had snow and we had cold wind, and now it's spring and it's warm. And I did something this last weekend, when it was nice and warm. I opened up the garage, and I took a broom and I swept it out, and I got rid of a bunch of boxes and trash and everything, and I went through spring cleaning. You're like, Paul, that's nice for you. But what does that have to do with Student of the Gun homeroom? Well, did we play the music, or did I just start talking? I just started talking. Do you want to play the music for him? All right, go ahead and play the music.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? Where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, 'cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to the ready.
Yes, that is Madison Rising, Come to the Ready, and that is the official theme song of Student of the Gun Homeroom, brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters, makers of the Super Tuck Deluxe, the most comfortable inside of the waistband holster you're ever going to buy, and also some of the best customer service you're ever going to experience in the holster firearms world. Testify, yes indeed. Now, we've actually had several of our grad program members leave us personal messages on the Liberty Mastermind. And if you don't know what that is, well, you should. But they left messages saying that the customer service that they've received from Crossbreed Holsters has been just top-notch, A+. So what in the world does spring cleaning have to do with being a student of the gun? Well, I'm going to tell you, hippie. If you are a dedicated, no-kidding student of the gun, if you follow my advice and you are an armed citizen and you legitimately carry a gun concealed on your body all day, every day, when you're dressed and moving around, you probably have a gun or more than one gun, because a prudent person will have a plan A and a plan B that has lint and dust and dead skin. Ooh, nasty. Ooh, yes. Do you want to like gross yourself out and go to the internet and look up what is the percentage of dust in a household that is actually made up of dead human skin. Yuck, nasty. If you carry a gun every day, you probably
like dead human skin or like dead human skin.
No, like dead skin from humans.
From a live human.
Yeah, from a live human.
Okay.
I hope you're not storing dead humans in your house. But if you do carry a gun every day, you probably spend a lot more time carrying it than you do shooting it. Well, just because that's the way it is. Most people don't get up every day and go to the range. Most people get up every day, dress themselves, put their guns on, and go about their day. And that doesn't necessarily include shooting the gun that they're carrying. Now, yes, you should shoot it. Yes, you should. And there's no reason not to. But the fact of the matter is, I bet you, especially if you have a pocket gun. Yeah, I know some of you are sitting there and you're cringing, you're making that face. You're like, ugh. How many of you guys are walking around every day with a compact 380 in your pocket? You're like, yeah, man, it conceals super easy. Nobody knows I have it on me. I've always got a gun with me. I want you to pull that thing out. I want you to take the magazine out, jack the slide on it so that the one that's in the pipe falls on the table or the floor or whatever. Pick it up, set it aside. Let's go ahead and do a reality check. How much pocket lint is in the trigger mechanism area of that gun? And even if you use a pocket scabbard, a pocket holster, like the wonderful Pocket Roo, even if you do that, you're going to have pocket lint, dust, and nasties in that gun. And you're like, man, how'd this gun get so dirty? I don't ever shoot it. Yeah, exactly. Now, when you go to shoot it, you want it to probably work. I'm just saying. If you've got a blue steel gun and you haven't lubed it in a while, there might be some orange stuff. Little tiny pieces of orange, little bits of orange appearing on your slide. And let's face facts. Most pocket 380s are made to be very inexpensive. Now, how does a manufacturer keep the cost down on a pocket 380? Well, they don't make them out of stainless steel. And they don't use stainless steel screws, pins, parts, and so forth. They're carbon steel. They're blued steel. They're phosphated or whatever, and those things are going to rust. So, and it's not just pocket guns. A lot of people are like, I don't carry a pocket gun. I carry in a real holster on a real belt like a man. Bro, pull that gun out. If you conceal that against your body with clothing and a belt and so forth, go ahead, pull that gun out, point it in a safe direction, jack the magazine out, clear the pipe, and tell me how much lint is in the trigger mechanism area of your gun. Even being in a holster. And you're like, ooh, you're right, Paul. So the Student of the Gun homeroom for this week, brought to you by Grosbeard Holsters, is this. It's time to do some spring cleaning on your carry guns, freaks and hippies. Yeah. Exactly. And do you need to do maintenance on guns? Yes. Even Glocks need to be cleaned once in a while. Once in a while, you gotta clean them. And you know what would be a fantastic, really super de-duper cool thing to do, Jared? Do you remember just recently we filmed some videos when our friend Jacob came up and spent some time with us in the studio? What was the last video that we did and I explained to folks?
The function check video?
The mechanical function check. That's right. If you haven't used your gun, let's say that you're a dedicated carrier and you kind of do that honesty gut check. You're like, well, the last time I shot this gun, it worked. And so it's good, right? It's still good. I'm good. Okay, when's the last time you shot it? Yeah, especially if it's a pocket 380, because why? Well, I don't shoot it because I don't have tight groups and it doesn't look good and it kind of hurts my hand when it goes off. So I just carry it. I don't shoot it. Okay, hey, that's wrong. You need to fix yourself. But disassemble your gun, clean your gun, frog lube it, whatever you want to do. I don't care. You're an American. Use some Q-tips and some pipe cleaners and get all that pocket lint and dead skin and dust and funk. Get it out of there. Put the gun back together so that it's pristine and clean like it was when it came out of the box. Now, before you keep the ammo away from it, perform a mechanical function check. And if you don't know how to do a mechanical function check on your gun, somebody who looks a lot like me and sounds a lot like me just did a video about how to do a function check. Did I not? Jared, hit me to this. We do a lot of things. Jared asked me actually the other day about something about a video we did, and I literally, legitimately, no kidding, could not remember recording the video. I know that we did it. I know there's proof and there's evidence that I did it. But Jared, what is the plan for releasing that mechanical function check video?
That's a good question.
That is a good question, and I'm glad that I asked it. So, Is it something that's doable?
That's something that's doable. It's within another series.
Okay. Well, hopefully you know how to do a mechanical function check. But for spring cleaning, what I want all of you students of the gun out there to do is I want you to do a gut check. I want you to say to yourself, be honest, when is the last time you took your everyday carry gun, cleared all the ammo out of it, and actually disassembled it and cleaned it and got all that funky lint and dust and so on and so forth, and make sure that it's not rusting? When's the last time you did it? You haven't for a while? Okay. Well, that's why I'm here, Professor Paul, to help you out, to give you that little push that you need to do some spring cleaning on your guns. All right, cats and kittens and all members of the Student of the Gun listening audience, don't be sad, but this is it. This is the end of the weekly public broadcast of Student of the Gun Radio. Now, if you are a grad program member, rock on, because I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. If you're not a grad program member and you'd like to become one, you'd like to be in part of the in crowd, get the Friday bonus hour, get the Tactical Tutor newsletter, get access to the celebrity interviews, get access to all the previous Tactical Tutors, get access to previous episodes, all that stuff, well, just go to studentofthegunradio.com and you can join us by clicking the button and following the instructions. If you do that, you might get yourself a free book, a complimentary book for shipping and handling, and be well on your way. So there you go. All right, kids, remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.